Hello and welcome back to the Spout Springs Repeater Association. This is a trip that happened in September of 2014 to retrieve the old repeater's antenna, the installation of the new antenna's radials, and the removal of a second damaged antenna that we talked about in an earlier video. This is a picture of the old repeater antenna that's now secured to the top of a lumber rack on Mark's pickup for removal from the antenna site, from the repeater site. That's marked there on the right, KC7NXX. And once the antenna was secured to the top of the rack on his pickup, we decided we'd examine the interior element of the repeater's old antenna. So once the hardware and screws were removed and loosened, the antenna element simply can be pulled out from the inside of the tube of the old fiberglass antenna. The various pieces of styrofoam that you see attached to the element were in place to keep the element centered inside of the fiberglass tube. That's the center element from the old repeater antenna, stretched from end to end. We did examine several places on the antenna where there were broken and damaged solder joints, and we took plenty of pictures of all of those as well. So the next part of this day's work is to get Mark on the tower there, to get up about halfway to retrieve the damaged antenna that's mounted on some standoffs. It was an antenna that was blown off of the tower due to the harsh weather conditions. It was severed in half. The top half somehow grabbed the guy wires of the tower and slid itself down to the ground level, while the remaining piece of the antenna stayed installed on the tower. Now that Mark has climbed up to the level of the broken antenna, to his left there are two standoffs that hold the antenna away from the tower, and you'll see the remnants, or the bottom half of the damaged antenna, there on the left. Now that the antenna has been secured to a piece of rope, it can now be lowered to the ground level. Right after this was performed, Mark continued his journey to the top of the tower to install 3 aluminum radials at the base of the antenna. However, it was determined that these radials descended a little too low, somewhat into the antenna mounting hardware. So we decided on a later trip, about 2 weeks later, to return to the repeater site to raise the antenna in its antenna mount up about 6 or 7 more inches so that the radials would clear the antenna mounting hardware. Here's a couple of pictures of the damaged antenna that was just removed from the tower. So after some site cleanup and some maintenance performed around the repeater site, we took a few more pictures and decided to return to the repeater in 2 weeks. That'll be the subject of our next video, of Mark scaling the antenna tower one more time to raise up the antenna so that the radials will then clear the antenna mounting hardware. This is Stephen, KC7SWV. Thanks for watching.